Hey guys, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. It is absolutely incredible, and I don't want you guys to miss this. That's why I'm making you this video to bring you guys up to the speed, make you aware of this amazing opportunity because it is absolutely free. I mean, free. Now, everyone has been talking about OpenAI and ChatGTP on YouTube and other social media platforms. But what is OpenAI or ChatGTP? Well, ChatGTP is a chat box and it is embedded into the OpenAI. And OpenAI is a research company that was developed by Sam Altman and 37 others, I guess so, way back in 2015. And although there are some rumors that Elon Musk is also involved with this company, but there are other school of thought saying that he was involved with this company in the past, but currently not directly involved with it day-to-day running or a decision making. Well, whatever the fact is, it's not why we are here today. We just want to say our gratitude and a very big thanks to whoever the developers were for giving us this amazing opportunity for absolutely free. And now I talk about free, I hope it remains so, though. But a couple of days ago, there has been rumors on the social media platforms that they have made a pro version of ChatGTP, which is only going to be available to paid users. I don't know how that is exactly going to be happening, but whatever the case may be, we are just praying that the free version of ChatGTP remains untouched. So now let's dive into the problem itself.
And guys, before we get into the video proper, I'm going to be needing your support. This is a new YouTube channel and I really need your subscriptions. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe by clicking on the button down below and click on the notification bell so that you can get notification anytime I upload a new video. Thank you.
Now, how do you access ChatGTP? To access ChatGTP, you can just use any external browser on your computer. For me, I'm going to be using Chrome, my Chrome browser. And when once you open your Chrome browser, then you have to come into your URL bar. This is where you are going to type OpenAI, OPEN, openai.com, and the website will automatically pop below your taskbar, or if not so, just press enter. It will take you to the website directly. For me, I've once opened this website. That is why it is being added as an extension to my Chrome user already. It is here. This is an extension. I can simply just click on this one and it will take me directly to OpenAI. So when you land on the OpenAI website, this is what it's going to look like. For me, I already have an account, but if you don't have an account, you need to sign up. It is not difficult. They are just going to ask you for your name, your email, and the password that you'll be using to log into the OpenAI. And they will be sending you a link into the email that you provided. You should go to that email and click on the link to confirm your email. And when you've confirmed your email, you return to OpenAI in whatever browser that you use and log in using the password that you provided. And when you fully access, when you have now logged into the OpenAI, this is what it is going to look like. And for you to access the ChatGTP, you are going to come to the extreme top of the web page and click on where it is written learn more or try. If you click on that, it takes you to ChatGTP. Now, this is how the ChatGTP is going to look like when you open ChatGTP for the first time. Of course, there are going to be some prompts here that should be telling you how the GPT functions, a short tutorial guide. But for me, I've opened this one and I've gone through those ones. That is why they are not popping any longer. And of course, you can see that I have projects on on the extreme left part of the interface, these are all projects that I just opened earlier. That is why they are embedded here. Of course, when you open ChatGTP for the first time, they will tell you that they are not going to be keeping this project for a very long time because they are having people pumping into the software like all the time. So they will be clearing this off their system in any given time. I'm not exactly sure how long that will be, but of course, I knew they have told me already, and I have not. They have already taken away few of my project that I wrote in just about 3 days. I don't know that's how, but for this ones, they have spent more than 3 days. So by now, I've concluded that it is not based on the fact that it will be happening within the same time frame. So of course, if you look at the main interface of the ChatGTP, you will see that it is telling you the examples of what it is capable of doing. Of course, we have limitations. For the examples, you will see that it explains quantum computing in simple terms. But for the third option under the example, this is what I use ChatGTP for a lot. This is the most amazing part of it. This is why I love it. Yes, it has creative ideas for absolutely anything that you may have in your head. You know, you can just put in your prompts and it can expand on those prompts. And here again, you see they are telling you that how do I make a HTTP request in Java? So this is just telling you that this can be a sample prompt that you will put into this ChatGTP and it will generate a feedback for you. In this instance, in this example, I don't know what it may input as it may give as an output because I'm not too good at coding myself. I'm just a beginner. I think for in about a couple of months ago, I decided to start learning HTML and CSS and JavaScript. Of course, I now know some basic tags, and that is where GTP has been helping me a lot because here as long as you know your HTTP tags, your CSS tags, or your JavaScript, you can just input your instructions directly into the software and it will write codes for you. Codes that are meant maybe for you to write in a long amount of time. This one will do it for you in absolutely just a seconds. So this is very amazing. And in some cases, you write codes for minutes and minutes, and you end up having lots and lots of bugs that may take you time to even debug. But here it can write the code for you in the correct format in just a matter of seconds, and there will be no bugs. It will explain to you how it is done. Or assuming you have written your codes, but there are bugs and you are not able to debug it, you can just copy that code, you paste it into ChatGTP, and it will tell you where exactly the problem lies, what and what you did wrong, and why it is. That is why a lot of people are saying that this cannot make good in a lot of fields. For instance, they suggested that students can use this to cheat. Let's assume you are a computer science student and you have been given some code to write, or they have been given some codes that contain bugs, and in your exam you are asked to debug that particular code. If you cannot debug that code, then you can just copy that code, paste it into ChatGTP, or you can just come here and paste the code into. You might not be able to type that in ChatGTP, for instance. Maybe I have not tested it anyways, but I'm very sure you may be able to write the entire code, to copy the entire code, type it yourself into ChatGTP and let it find the bugs. But rather than that, you can just copy the whole text, paste it into ChatGTP and instruct it to debug it for you. It will tell you where the problem lies, what and what you did wrong, and why, how you should be doing it correctly, and some other details added to it. That is why lots organization, educational organizations are saying that this could be a tool used for students to cheat. Other school of thought are saying that it will affect the Google search engine. Others like just a lot and lots of things. So if you come to the capabilities, it is telling you that GTP remembers what you said earlier on. It is giving response based on your previous response, based on the feedback. As you go along, it gives response based on the feedback. That is why I love this GTP because it lands. You can absolutely take any idea and just put that idea into GTP, you let it land the concept, then it start giving you feedback and you make some arrangement on that feedbacks. The more you go, the more it becomes better, the more it understands, and the more it gives you the perfect answer that you deserve, that you want. Um Allow users to provide follow-up corrections. Yes, this is just telling you that with time, you can adjust the feedback, you can adjust your prompt to give you different outputs. For instance, it may deviate a little bit from the context, but you can just go back and give an instructions for it to take out some materials that you don't want, or you can just make an adjustment to your input prompt and it will write something different. And also under the capabilities, you see it down here that the AI is trying to decline inappropriate requests. Yes, for a couple of times this became a problem for me, and I'm not exactly sure how to actually avoid this one because I've got notifications in a couple of times warning me that the AI is not trained for that particular prompt. You know, it is sensitive to nodes, like giving the AI some node prompt to generate response on. It will tell you that it is not programmed, it's against its program to generate anything regarding that particular concept. And also anything offensive, anything violent, you cannot put any violence in prompt into this one. It will not generate anything based on violence, based on nodes and all the rest. So this AI is trained, it has a sensor to pick that one up. If you come to the limitations, you see that they are telling you directly that it may occasionally generate incorrect materials. That is why in the agreement terms, they will tell you there are some agreements you have to accept before you start using this. For instance, it may give you recommendations that may not entirely be the truth. That is why it is incumbent on you to cross-check with the appropriate body to find out whether or not the information it gave you is correct before applying it into something that has to do with cautions before applying. So also it tell you that it may occasionally produce harmful materials. Yes, I've tested this sometimes. For instance, there was a time it gave me something that scared me a little bit. I'm not going to tell you what exactly it was, but it was a direct statement that it just gave as a feedback, and it made me look scared a little, but it is a machine. It is not programmed like your brain to do everything or to even knowing what scares you or what doesn't scare you. So it may give you harmful instructions or incorrect information. Also, it is only limited to knowledge as of 2021. So if there are any current events or happening after 2021, GTP cannot give any comment, cannot create any feedback except based on guesses, but it cannot give you any happening beyond 2021 because it does not have programming that take records of any happening beyond 2021. But below that, I think it is good to go. So when you are in ChatGTP, what you have to do, you just have to put in your prompt. That is what you want ChatGTP to do to you. Assuming I'm a code writer and I want GTP to make a head container of HTML tag for me, it will just make a head container of HTML tag. It will write the entire code. I may instruct it to put some div tags containing so details, strings. It will do that for me. I can instruct it to add links to that container head. It will do it. I can instruct it to suggest some suitable CSS tags for that coding, and it will do all of that for me. That is the most amazing part. But for me, I use GTP more for writing purposes, for creative writing. For instance, if you look at one of my projects open here, Poor Boy, Rich Girl, Love. It's not exactly the correct title anyways, but it's something that I've been working on for a very long time. It's a story that I had a concept. I already started writing it, I think about a couple of years ago, but it took me time. I had to take more time, and I couldn't cope up with my time schedule to writing a book. So it came to a time I stopped that one. But when I got information about this opportunity, that was the first thing that came to my mind. Maybe I could just use this ChatGTP to like continue my book and make it very fast. So I just came into ChatGTP, and what I did, I learned the I learned the ChatGTP my story. I gave it the entire synopsis. I typed the entire synopsis, the entire summary of my whole story into this bar, and I just click enter. I did not give it any instruction. I did not say expand or write a script. I just write the synopsis into this bar and I press enter. And it gave me a feedback that was just telling me how well it understood the story. It gave me an abstract of the entire summary that I put into the book, into the text that I just put. So, and in fact, for me, the first abstract it made was just absolutely fine. That was exactly what I was trying to let it learn. So immediately it suggested to me that it can generate chapters for writing novel, because I embedded in the image input that it's a novel. So since I embedded that it's a novel, it told me that it can generate chapters for me based off that concept. I said, okay, go ahead, generate 10 chapters. And boom, automatically it generated 10 chapters with headings. Chapter 1, he gave you a heading and gave a brief description of what the chapter may be portraying, what and what should be in those chapters. He gave me all of these things. So I now started expanding on the chapters one at a time. I instructed GTP to expand on chapter 1 based on the brief description that he gave of what the chapter will be entailing. It made a complete chapter for me for chapter 1. That was fine. And the write up was not that long. Like, it gave me for about 2 to 3 pages of that chapter, but I instructed it to expand more further. For instance, it gave me some very relevant information while it was writing the entire chapter. So I just took some of those important or relevant ideas that they came up with. I inputted that into the task bar again, and I told GTP to expand on that particular concept. And the more it expanded, the more you can take little details from the chapter it generates and expand on them one at a time. That will make your story lengthy or explain into detail. But what I observe from ChatGTP for writers, I think it 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 told more of my story than showing it. And that is one thing that is really, really important in creative writing, especially those that are writing novel. People tend to to like get fall in love with stories that are shown and not told. For instance, you may say the man was afraid while he's writing a novel. You say you can just make a reference to the main character to say he was afraid. But what the people actually want is not you telling them whether or not the man was afraid. It's you showing them signs to show that the man is afraid. You say, whilst he was walking in the dark forest, there were voices of, you know, long past away people, babies crying. You don't have to tell the reader that the man is afraid, but by just a mere fact of telling them the things that are happening around, they automatically know that the man is afraid, that you are showing them, not telling them. But in ChatGTP, it do more of a tell than show. But when once you have hands on those scripts, it gives you basically all the ideas that you need to rebrand your story into the way you want it. I'm going to be showing you very soon. I'm just explaining how you should be going about it when you enter into the ChatGTP for the first time. So along the way, it is going to suggest, or it is going to write script that are off the context, but overall it is going to be 80 to 90% within the concept, as long as you gave it a detailed synopsis for it to understand your story. But for the rest 10% that it may go off the concept, you can just copy that and take it out of the text. And you may even instruct the GTP not to further take the story into that dimension, because that is not what you are looking for. It understands that one as well. So having done that, let's just go directly into the software itself then, so that we'll see the examples by practical. So now I've told you every basic of how the ChatGTP works. Let us now do it practically for you to see exactly what I have been talking about. So for this, I am going to paste in a new text prompt that I've copied. It's a short synopsis of a short story, and I want GTP to learn this story. So we are going to expand on it. I'm just going to come to the prompt bar and paste the summary of the story that I've written. So now I'm not going to give GTP any instructions. I did not give you any instructions. I just literally just type my synopsis, a summary of a brief story, and I click enter. It is going to generate an abstract telling me how it understood the concept. If I don't like the way it understood the concept, I can always regenerate for it to do more or do something else. For instance, this is what it generated: a story of a forbidden love between a fairy princess and a human woodcutter, where they overcome a societal norm and societal pressure to be together. They gave up everything to be together and live happily ever after. Well, I'm not too sure this is exactly all that I wanted, but for the sake of this tutorial, to make it short, we are just going to expand on this one. Of course, you can always regenerate to see other abstract that it is going to make. And one thing for the AI to actually learn that a particular prompt that you input, for it to take preference of that prompt, you can always make sure you like. You can tell this prompt that you like this particular response that it made. So in future, when you're expanding on your story, it's going to take reference of this like, and it will put more emphasis on the particular responses that you liked. So this is one thing you have to take into consideration. So now, assuming it has given this abstract and we want the bot to expand on this, or to like suggest few chapters, give us a clue of how such a story should go. Let me just ask GTP and see what it will suggest for me. Let's say suggest 6 chapters. So I've now asked the GTP to suggest 6 chapters. Let's see how it is going to generate these chapters. So chapter 1 is say the discovery. Now it is giving you a brief description of how chapter 1 is going to look. It says Jack stumbles upon the fairy kingdom and meets Elora for the first time. The chapter 2 is going to be forbidden love. Elora and Jack fall in love, but their relationship is forbidden by fairy laws. Chapter 3 is going to be the choice. Elora must choose between her duty as a fairy princess or her love for Jack. The banishment, the sacrifice, happy ending. So you see, I think I like these chapters that they generated. I'm now going to ask GTP to expand on these chapters one at a time. Now let's ask GTP to expand on this chapter 1. Let it suggest ways, writing form of how Jack and Alara met. Expand too fast. Expand chapter 1. So chapter 1, it is now writing the entire chapter. In most cases, it gives a very lengthy work. In some cases, it might just give a summary of a chapter. And when once it has written the summary of a chapter, you will now expand on each chapter, on each paragraph of the chapter for it to give more details. If you want, you can just leave it like that, go into any document processing applications, for instance, Microsoft Word, in 360, WPS on your phone, or whatever document that you may want to use, and add details to the story as you may want them, because you may not entirely want your whole story to just be copy and paste from the AI. I don't recommend that one. So now this is what it generated. For instance, if I like the second paragraph of the chapter 1, I may just copy the entire paragraph, paste it in the prompt bar, and allow GTP to expand on that one, give more details. For the sake of tutorial, since we don't want this too lengthy, I'm going to stop here, but this is just the way it works. If you want to give it a try, you can just come do some experiments yourself, do some few changes and see how best it will work for you. Let's assume I am a coder and I want GTP. I already have a tag I created here. I'm not going to waste too much time on this. I'm just going to the project that I created and let's see how I went about it. So let's open this program that I created here. My first tag that I inputted was write a HTML tag containing the head and the body. So it wrote the tag for me. This is the entire HTML tag. It embedded the head, it embedded the body. This is how nice it is. So now I wanted to add some few div tags into the body. I just said add div tags containing strings, home, blog, news, help and contact, and it did that exactly as you can see down here. Normally when you go on web pages, you see that every web page normally have a home page, they have a blog page, they have a new page, help and contact depending on the purpose of the website. It may not entirely always be the same, but they always have similarities. So let's assume on your home page of your web page, you want to embed a link tag that will be taking you to either another page on your website or another external page on another website. So you may just tell GTP to add a link tag, which was what I did here, add a link tag in the home container. So this is what it did. It immediately rewrote the whole code and it embedded a link tag into home container. Now, assuming you have written this code, if you know how to use your CSS tags, then you can just give the instructions one at a time to define each of the elements you have in your code. It will do that for you. But if you don't know, assuming for time consumption, you just want GTP to suggest all the suitable CSS tags so you can edit them later. It will be nice because that will save you from having bugs in your code that sometimes debugging them will be a problem. So now you just come and say suggest suitable CSS tags and boom, this is what it did. It suggested all possible CSS tags that may be suitable for this. You may not exactly like it this way, but if you now go into any code writing IDE like VS Code, PyCharm or whatever, you cannot edit it there to your liking. So this is very nice. Assuming you have your own code written already, but there are bugs in that code and the code is long, you cannot go all through the tags to see where the bug lies, to see where you went wrong, where the error lies. You can just copy the whole code, paste it into ChatGTP and instruct it to correct the whole coding. It will tell you where the bug is, where you went where you did the mistake, why it was showing you the error message. It will just automatically recorrect all the code for you. This is the main reason why some people have been saying ChatGTP may not be a very good option for students because some students may use this one as a tool to cheat. Assuming you are a computer science student and you are expected to do an assignment that has a code containing bugs and you are asked to debug that particular code. Assuming you are not able to do that, you can just use ChatGTP, come in just few seconds, you copy paste your code here and it automatically gives you all the debug. It tells you where you went wrong, what and what you are not supposed to do. So this might not be too good for students. And if you rely on this one, you end up deceiving yourself. You always be a beginner, always be a learner. You've not learned anything. It will make you seem as if you are a professional when you are not. Some other school of thoughts are also saying that it will disturb Google search engine and all the rest, But whatever the case may be, we like the GTP. For the sake of this tutorial, in order not to make it too long, I am going to stop here. But you can always come yourself and give it a try. I don't know everything. I might not tell you the correct stuffs because I'm a beginner myself. So you can always go on YouTube. The whole community is now flooded with different tutorials of ChatGTP. Some even show you how to make money with ChatGTP, how you can write materials here and you can monetize them on on different social media platforms. So I'm going to stop here. If you really like this video, please, I need your support. This is a new YouTube channel and I want you to subscribe by just clicking down on the button.
Thank you for staying with me throughout the video.